My friends, welcome to the frequency. We're about to dive into it. Let's hope I can do this justice. Carl Jung and this secret teaching encoded into his psychological work it's this idea I've been realizing reading some of the more scarce and fringe letters from Carl Jung, looking at his red book, and also seeing all these references and conversations he had with occultists and mystical teachers, led me to this path of discovering this encoded teaching in his idea of individuation and the psychological Jungian process of individuation, and understanding this from a psychological perspective. It's still an immense idea, but it literally describes the ancient symbolism and mystery schools within this narrative here, okay? And guys, no one else is talking about this. No one else is showing you this, but it's so remarkable. It is incredible, okay? So where to start? Let's just start with a little bit about Carl Jung before we dive into the individuation process, which is essentially, he describes it as you carving out and differentiating your ego, right? Discovering your true self, and then it goes into this deep symbolic teaching about the animus or anima, which is the union of the divine masculine and divine feminine within oneself to open up the doors of the monad, the full expression of creator through you. This is literally the teaching of Hinduism and the God avatar and Kalki and all this stuff. It's also the esoteric teachings of the Gnostics, the true teachings of Jesus, my friends, all the mystery schools, ancient Egypt and Horus. Carl Jung, A, studied all of that. B, perfectly broke this shit down and how it happens inside of you, okay? And C, he in his red book and stuff, his letters and descriptions and I guess identification of this process is so touching, my friends. It's literally so personal and so relevant. It's not some cryptic speech in an ancient text, but something that applies to so many levels in your being. So let's dive into this. To start off, Carl Jung, only 10% of his work has ever been published so far. Only 10%. Okay. He's a giant. In the realms of psychology, people compare him to Freud. Freud despised art, philosophy, and religion. Freud attributed all consciousness and behaviorism to these sexual, he was so stuck in the root chakra. It was stupid. My friends, Carl Jung is a giant, a beast. He's all the every psychologist before him combined with an ancient hermeticist, okay? Ancient hermeticism is honestly the foundation for all of psychology and 10 times beyond it. And Carl Jung was onto this, and he went deep, my friends. With he had a scientific mind, right? And a very charismatic, hardworking character. But then his second personality, which he described in his memoir autobiography, is this occultist, this mystical deep diver, chosen one, right? My friends, he was a prophet of the modern age. Carl Jung was a prophet of the modern age, okay? He's the hidden prophet, honestly. What he unveils here is ridiculous. It's immense. And guess what? He is bad-mouthed. He's cast down. He's it's insane the amount of criticism his work gets in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and all the mainstream organizations just shitting on this in any way they can. Shitting on his character and his reputation. But the strange thing is, he outpaced all of psychology by he ran 3 extra marathons beyond them. And furthermore, his ideas are so relevant, so personal, like so transformative, right? Like just like complete, like that his schools of Jungian psychology are expanding faster than anything, like any other school of psychological thought. His schools are expanding to every major city across the world. Jungian psychology, if you just read this shit, it's like, okay, yeah, this man understood the nature of consciousness. And we're going to be diving into so many things, but basically I got this download after finding so many references to him in some of these texts, like the Gnos Book of Resurrection, right? And this eternal return, right? And then also this deep breakdown in this like fringe essay on this desecration of symbolism and how Carl Jung reunited it back within oneself. This is gonna lead to so many videos. It's gonna lead into what is yoga, what is religion, aka union. It's gonna lead into the desecration of symbolism and the path to the immortal soul self, and what the ancient mystery schools were really teaching universally, right? The attainment and achievement of the full monad realized within yourself, giving a face to the creator, right? Sketching your soul into the times of eternity, my friends. Okay? And if that didn't make sense to you, you're probably not a student of the mystery teachings, and I would encourage you to go check out something like the Great Arcanum or the Gnostic teachings or any really mystery school you vibe with. Yeah, so let's get into this. Just like a quick overview before we really break down individuation in the psychological terms and then the esoteric and mystery teaching that is encoded within that. Just some like quotes and stuff, like the purpose of man's existence is to make the unconscious conscious. Until man makes the unconscious conscious, he will be ruled by forces unseen, and you'll call it fate or destiny, right? And the Hermetic teachings like repeatedly go back to the ignorant man is at the mercy of destiny. The ignorant man, the neophyte, the non-initiated, right, is in bondage to fate. That Hermetic teachings, go look at it. Go look at Hermes Trismegistus, the divine Pymander, right? Says it many, many times. And Carl Jung also described this. Just want to get to the good picture. Essentially, what Carl Jung said in psychological terms, right, making the unconscious conscious, right, like bringing light to the darkness, is exactly what Master Thoth said in the Emerald Tablet. The purpose of man's existence is the transmutation of darkness into light. My friends, we are born here into this world as a persona. We're born here, and there's no face to like the soul until we get the ego, okay? And this ego stands on the brink between the unconscious and the conscious, right here, looking at this image. Okay. The persona is what we express when I'm speaking, like right now, when I'm speaking to you in this video, that's my persona, okay? And the persona is the head, the expression of the 5 realms in Jungian thought, or the internal orders. The persona is the expression of that which comes from the source. The persona is the result, the consequence, the cause, right? And also the ego rests at the borderline between the unconscious and conscious. And like Jung said, you have to make the unconscious conscious, transmuting the darkness into light, right? For the realization of the self. The self, in Jungian terms, is literally code word for God. The self is code word for the awakened creator, is the code word for essentially your soul, like putting your soul on high, literally. like it's so misunderstood, my friends. Like people out here like talking on YouTube and stuff, everyone talking about individuation, like they understand it as like, oh yeah, you gotta like order all these processes, you gotta understand what the shadow is, then you gotta, harmonize your emotions which with the anima, and then you can reach the self, which is like the realization of yourself and like your true energy power, right? Like basically a unified mind and control of your mind. That's like 1% of what Carl Jung was really expressing here, my friends. The self in Jungian, like I could go show you the essays, I could go bring up like direct references in occult literature, in his red book, in just like I could bring it up, but just hear me out. The self, my friends, is the universal mind. The self is like the whole, the pinprick from universal consciousness, the collective unconscious, aka God, the creator, okay? The anima or animus is your divine twin soul. The anima or animus is the barrier. It stands at the gate of Christ consciousness, of divine logos, right? The anima animus basically shields you from this huge world of the unseen, right? This immense amount of energy and forces and powers. Okay. Within the self rests the his archetypes, okay? And the archetypes was coded language once again. The archetypes is coded language for gods. Okay. The archetypes are gods. The anima or animus is your divine twin soul that was separated from you, okay? And the entire process through life is the eternal return, is returning to and unifying back with your second half that was split from you, right? If you're male, it's your female other half, right? But it's not physical. Okay, this whole world out here, they sell you on like the physical sex and the lust and stuff. Why was chastity preached in every mystery teaching? Why was chastity so important in the Gnostic tradition? Why was chastity so important in all religion, mystery teachings, and anything to do with Kundalini? Why? Why? Not having sex, not having a physical relationship. Why did Jesus, in his dialogue of the Savior and the Gospel of Thomas, say this world will not be purified until the sin of the woman is removed? Okay, all this shit is interpreted so badly by everyone out here, my friends. It's my friends, we're not here to give our creative energy to the beast, to the physical. We're not here to be bound to the flesh. That energy is supposed to be used for the spiritual evolution and growth into the unification with your anima or animus, which is literally your divine twin soul, which was split from you, right? And it is unification in the mind, in the consciousness, right? But it is also linked up to them in the physical, okay? Like the physical bond relationship is literally it shackles on your feet. And I'm going to do a full mystery teaching on this idea of, it's called Amor, okay? And Amor means without death. It means immortality. And Amor is the loveless love of the warrior on the quest for the eternal return, okay? Amor, loveless love, is the discovery and passion and fire of love that is the only fuel source for your unification with your divine twin soul consciously, right? And this is so Kundalini, Vril energy, the eternal return, the unification of the divine twin souls, all happens from Amor, which is the only path to immortality of the soul, immortality of the consciousness, and Amor being the, I guess, So this loveless love, right, and that energy can rise and go towards spiritual evolution and unfoldment, which is essentially literally the only path for the Kundalini to make it. The sacred secretions, the sacred spinal, whatever thing in the Christos tradition. So before I get too far into that and lose too many people, I know like this is getting complicated already, but like you can't make a higher work. You can't bring down a higher work from the higher planes to the lower planes just to express it, my friends. You got to wrap your mind around the extraordinary before you can understand the ordinary. Okay? Carl Jung was an adept in many ways. He was an adept because he saw that the persona and the ego that everyone is focused on and tries to change and tries to that is the expression or is the consequence from the source, which is the self, which is the unconscious mind, which is the archetypes playing out roles in the unconscious mind, right? And as they go through this, and then the shadow and how all these things that you separated from yourself affect the final expression of your ego and how you sculpt this image out here. This is an adept understanding. This is the hermetic understanding, my friends. This is the understanding that of the cause and the effect, my friends, and knowing that all things as they appear are illusions. The only true reality, the substance of reality, the truth, is that which lies behind the physical appearance. That which lies behind the material is the only thing real. The material is only the light, the false light, right? The thing subject to change, the thing that is subject to decay and more, my friends, the thing that underlies the reality you see is the truth. And that is getting to the source, not the consequence, not the cause, right? The neophyte is always up here in the conscious, but the adept is walking towards the self, integrating the shadow, right? Discovering himself and realigning all these pieces, right? And then rediscovering Amor, the Animar Animus, right? And unifying that in consciousness, right? Creating the union, which is literally yoga, which is literally religion, which means yug, to unite, right? Which is Kundalini rising, which is the serpent. My friends, this is the serpent wisdom, the ancient serpent wisdom. The symbol of the serpent is one of the most desecrated symbols, right behind Mary Magdalene, or the goddess, or the twin soul, the feminine twin soul, the Isis, the veiled mother. That's the first most desecrated symbol. Mainly just because whatever forces are to be out here want everyone to be in bondage to the flesh and live for the physical. And if you don't understand what you're doing on a spiritual level, when you're having sex, when you are masturbating, when you are doing that kind of thing, you are in complete bondage. You are completely enslaved to something you cannot have any notion of because you don't understand the mysteries. My friends, the spiritual mysteries, the truth of this realm and who you are is unveiled through this process, okay? And if you're a little lost on what I'm saying here, go check out the Great Arcanum, Mystery Teachings, and then type in, Kundalini, Union, and the, maybe something like, whatever. Do your own research. See, just verify what I'm saying. Because I've only spit straight truth to you so far. I've only spit straight truth to you, and I only will. My passion is literally truth. And, if you can hear this, sweet. We're going to have a great ride, because it's the beginning of kind of the mystery school. And also breaking down a lot of really interesting stuff. I want to see if, before I end this video, so throughout the next video is going to be more of just like a informative video about Nietzsche and Jung, the idea of true individuation, which is the complete affirmation of the ego. My friends, is New Age deception. It's the ego death. It's the you got to get rid of your ego. No, it's a complete affirmation and, in fact, differentiation of the ego to give a face to the soul, to allow the creator to speak through you as a true Kabbalistic man. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you follow? The monad to speak through you. The child only has a spark of divinity, right? The child, the spark. We're gonna go. I'm gonna dive straight into Hermetic documents after this video, but because like it's all related. And like if you haven't read Hermetics, you will not understand a single word I'm saying, because you're a fucking retard. Get on Hermetics and read it, and like it's the key. It's the key to everything. Like, and if you think I'm just like some psychopathic, like just like complete, religious zealot out here, I'm just like speaking bullshit. Have fun in your bondage to ignorance. This is the immortal truth, my friends. Listen. The full affirmation of your ego and the differentiation of it by realizing your self, which is the creator, that monad expressed through your monad, if that makes sense. Okay, the child has a spark of the creator in density, right in the mountain, and the process is discovering and walking the path to knowledge of God. The man who knows God will not taste death. Hermes and Jesus, whatever teaching you're following, because they're all the same. It's the process of expanding that spark by knowing that spark and reuniting that spark with the field outside of you, and the field outside of you with that spark inside of you. Therefore, right, becoming literally a portal into this world of the full essence of the creator. The creator can't manifest himself straight into the physical. He can't do it, right? That's why he sends down fractures of himself. He sends down sparks. The creator, God, like the supreme spirit, you have a spark, a fracture of light from him, right? And that can bloom into the lotus, into the radiance, right? That spark, you must uplift the sparks, like in Lurianic Kabbalah. You must uplift the sparks, right, to reunite them. And when you can do this, when you can realize the self, which is fighting to get down here, right, which is from the above, right, then it's a face, it's the avatar, right? Giving a face to the universal consciousness, the monad of self, the full affirmation of the ego. And yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about right here. Anyways, thanks for watching. Go check out the following videos. Gonna do one on Nietzsche and Jung, on individuation and the higher man. And then probably like the third, maybe the second video I do after this one is going to be on the union, the yoga, the union of, and the eternal return, and some different types of approaches, perspectives, and mythology on the anima and animus, which is the gatekeeper to God consciousness. Okay? And then, so that's like literally the great Arcanum of mystery teachings, is how to unify the divine masculine and divine feminine within you and reunite on the physical, literally, and in consciousness with your perfect lover, the exact match for your soul, which was separated from you. And there's many different ways to look at this, maybe Hyperborean or the Egyptian. I mean, you can just go on and on. Then we're going to get into desecration of symbolism. We're going to get into Julius Evola. We're going to dive into Hermetic teachings very soon. Yeah, we're definitely going to read a lot of Hermetics. I don't know if... I think on my OneNote I've actually compiled a page of Hermetic teachings combined. I don't know if I combined them yet. Basically, eventually, so this is kind of like obviously a rough draft of a great amount of work. But this will be constantly refined, and as I speak this message further and further, I will always bring it back to Jung, because it's very, very interesting, and this guy needs to be recognized, because everyone's shitting on him, because know why? The mainstream, they can't let this information get out. They can't let you understand the secrets. They can't let you know of the serpent wisdom and your unification with the golden age of mankind and that far extended consciousness, the gods walking on earth, the Elohim awakening, Shakti rising, and the Buddha opening his eyes. You are all of those people, my friends. You have them all within you. Awaken the monad. Just real quick before we end this. Just going to show you. Oh yeah. Here we go. So I made this page for Hermes, which we're going to be diving into. And there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to know. Oh yeah, the Cobran is a major addition we're going to be making too. Yeah, Hermetics coming up next. We're going to be talking about. Ooh, more. The allegory of the chariot, wing seeds in Plato's whatever. The lower or inferior part of man's nature, Adam, which is the body, as dragging the soul down to earth and subjecting it to the slavery of corporeal conditions. Out of these conditions arise numerous evils that disorder the mind and becloud the reason, for evil is inherent to the condition of finite, multiform existence in which we have fallen. So, wait, how do we get enslaved to that? He who knows God and those who know God are preserved from assaults of the evil one and are not subjected to destiny. The knowledge of God is religion. Religion literally means to unite. To unite. The knowledge of God is religion. Religion means to unite. So when you know God, you are united with him. You are Melchizedek. Your will and the Father's will in one. You and the Father in you. You are the Kabbalistic man, speaking with an open throat chakra, the angelic language of divine creation and manifestation. like people's... I sound so far out there usually when I'm speaking like this because no one else is, but it's like, guys, it's so fucking obvious. It says it every single time in every ancient teaching. It's like, am I the only one reading these things? Am I the only one? Or is everyone else is so ignorant when they read these that they can't, like, I have so much energy going towards this right now. There's so much energy been, like, literally, I've wanted to make teachings like this for 2 years. But it's difficult because there's no precedent for it, A, and B, it sounds so out there, like, yo, you think you can, like, literally awaken as God? Yeah, I do. Like, literally, that's what the mystery teachings are. To awaken as God. It's deification. What the fuck do you think all of the ancient Egyptian drawings were? All of them. What do you think the entire hieroglyphic system was based off of? All those drawings, all the hieroglyphs are the initiation into deification. You as Horus. Literally all of them. That's what it's all about. Like, and deification, it's misunderstood in many ways, but yeah, this is the golden age of the golden race. Either with me, like, and putting your mind into the mysteries so you can gain the gnosis, which is Doth, which is the crown of knowledge, which is the Christing or you can either be with me or just go, continue your enslavement to the bondage. And I know this is getting way off topic, and I'm probably just lost so many people who came here for the mystery teachings of Jung. But, we got to hit on the Hermetics a little bit. Right here. We're going to end right here. Let us speak now of that which is immortal, and of that which is mortal. The multitude, the ignorant, of the reason of things, because they don't know the reason of things, because they're lost, is troubled by the approach and the fear of death. Fear is the bondage of darkness, my friends. Death occurs by the dissolution of the body, wearied by its toil. When the number which maintains unity is complete, for the binding power of the body is number, the body dies. That we're going to go into Deuteronomy in the Bible, which talks about unbinding. If you actually go to the ancient Phoenician language, which guys, the Bible has been hideously adulterated, like hideously fucked with. But and this happens when it can no longer support the burdens of life. Such then death is the dissolution of the body. That's not the part I wanted to read. What was the part I wanted to read? Whatever. Thanks for watching, my friends. Go check out the next video, and I'll see y'all around. Hells yeah.